when you decide to live your life the Bible way, you're going to be tempted to go back to your old ways.
I'm scared.
God didn't give you the spirit of fear. This is your journey, and I can't do it for you. I thought I told you to stop bringing that foolishness around my house. And I only want what's best for you.
Somebody call 911, please. Oh my God, somebody call 911. Oh Lord. Lord, I can't do this one. I can't do this one, Lord.
Hello, hello, hello. It is me, A. Fox of the Angela Fox First Show. And I am so glad to be among you guys today. This is Terrific Tuesday. It's actually Super Tuesday, is what they have coined this day to be. And of course, we would be remiss, as a network and as a television show if we did not discuss this very important topic. And it's so fitting today because it is definitely a subject that, a lot of people are uncomfortable sometimes talking about, our voting. Voting rights, voting attitude, voting, our political figures. It's definitely one of those kind of topics that has become a bit controversial, even though I'm not really quite sure why. But you know how I roll. I cannot, talk about this subject on my own without having somebody, absolutely phenomenal to be joining the show with me. So, listen, I'm a little nervous because you know how they always say, you get on the show, you have to do like a well, like if you're on a job and your boss is evaluating you, I kind of feel like that's, that I'm getting evaluated today. And that is because, listen, our owner of Amethyst on Fire TV on Roku is here with me today to talk about this absolutely important topic of voting. So, I want you guys to give him a warm welcome. Brent, please join us today. How are you? Let me make sure I got you in.
I am fine, sis. How are you doing today?
Hey, I am wonderful. I'm wonderful. Listen, okay, evaluate me correctly, sir. Okay.
Listen, like I've said before to other people, the best show is the one that you do and the one that you complete, the one that you started and the one that you finished.
I love it.
There's a lot
Love
of
it.
people to
I
practice
love it.
haven't gotten started yet, but you've been doing this for a while, sis. So congratulations.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me as part of, the home of the Angela Foxworth Show. It's so important. And I thank you for believing in me, for always encouraging me. And, listen, for giving me just the absolute best people to interview. I mean, I can't, ask for, someone who really takes pride in what you do and who's there for me and wants to see us all win. So it is such a blessing being a part of this network. It really is.
Thank you so much. I want to say two things.
Okay.
Number one, the there are several business components, and I just and in my head, in order to keep it simple and to keep it easy, um, anything that I'm attached to, Ebony Joy is also attached to it. So I just want everybody out there in TV world to know
Yes.
I'm not the
Yes.
owner. I am co-owner with my partner, my love, my heart, my queen, Ebony Joy.
Yes, I'm so
Yeah,
sorry. And the only listen, I didn't say it only because you were here.
I
But
know,
yes,
I know,
yes, I know y'all are a package.
absolutely, absolutely. And then the other thing is, who are some of the people that you interviewed on your show that maybe people haven't seen it and we got a place for them to go look at it at?
Hey, I have had the opportunity to interview Fanatic, who is the lead singer of the Billy Lennox band, Grammy award winning, multi Grammy award winning Fanatic, and it was absolutely amazing. I have been blessed to interview Tiffany Young of the Pink Hotel.
Yeah,
I have been blessed to interview Yellow Pain,
yeah,
who is an awesome, awesome multi. He has multi-million followers, and I've been blessed, and they can all be seen right here on Amethyst on Fire TV on Roku.
awesome, awesome, awesome. Yeah,
Yes.
I actually reached out to him and told him if he's available to peek his head in on this conversation since we're
Oh, would love that.
talking about voting
Yes.
and you know how important it is and in the process or in a system that has already been established how
Yes.
how important it is to fuel the process by doing your part and
Yes.
mine is voting. And don't get me wrong, I don't agree with everything that exists within this country. I don't like all of the
Right.
policies. I don't even like all of the people.
Right. Right.
But
Eh,
as far as government is concerned, um, it's a system that already exists, and in order to effectuate that system, you have to vote. Because an example I gave was, Angela, you got 100 people that are your friends on the job. I've got 100 people that are my friends on the job. The company proposes a vote to a resolution. We have suggested what we want to see happen on the job, and you guys have suggested what you want to see happen on the job. Some of the things that we have aligned, but a lot of the things that we have in place are completely different.
yes.
And if our vote for our idea wins, it's going to be very favorable to me and my team, and the same for you. But if
Hmm.
I lose or if you lose, it's going to be some detrimental changes to the scheduling and all that stuff. This is at the job.
Yes. Yes.
So now it's time to vote. Day has come. It's time to vote. I got 100 people. You got 100 people. If only one of your people don't show up and one of your people don't vote, we've won.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's how important it is. And people say, "Oh, well, the numbers." No, the numbers. The ain't no way the numbers can be that close.
Mhm.
I've traveled on the highway before and saw a traffic accident and said to myself, "Let me go a different way to see if I can get around this traffic." Well, guess what? I wasn't the only person trying to go that different way to get around that traffic.
Mhm. Mhm.
So when people say my vote doesn't count or it's not. It doesn't matter whether I vote or not. They're going to put into to place, who they want, and this and that kind of thing. I get all of that. Been there, felt it, emotionalized through it. Um, and then when I went back and started looking at Yellow Pain's music again and his video,
Mhm.
"My Vote Don't Count," and I started really listening to it. And then at the very end, there's a young lady doing a narration, and she says, "For every person that decides that they're not going to vote, someone else on the other side is deciding that they are going to vote, and they're going to vote for their person of choice
Mhm.
who believes in their ideas." And that's just, you know, you can't keep complaining about something and don't do anything to change it. That's insanity.
Mhm.
You can't keep saying voting doesn't work if everyone collectively isn't voting the way they could and the way they should vote. So, you know, I recently put up a post that says "Vote or be quiet,"
Mm.
because you can't complain about the result when you didn't help, you didn't try, you didn't do nothing at all with the process. Nothing at all with the process.
Yeah. I think that, let me ask you this though, just playing the other side of the coin, because this morning I was speaking to a young lady, getting breakfast this morning, and she basically said that she, what's the point, her exact words, what is the point, they're gonna do what they want to do anyway. That was her attitude about it. And I guess for me, I'm such a deep thinker. I kind of sometimes to a fault, I like overthink things, right? But here, I guess for me, what I always see is, if it wasn't that important, then why do they go through so many avenues to suppress votes, to come up with ways on um you know uh finding ways to buck the system and this and that, if it wasn't something that was important, and if it wasn't something that we definitely even if we're manipulated as a country or whatever the case may be, because I have heard all of what people have stated, but it's got to be something important. Otherwise, they wouldn't make such a big to do about it. It wouldn't be where, we want to get everybody out here. It wouldn't be where, we're going to say, whatever needs to be said to get that vote, whether they feel like it's true or not.
Right.
So, what is your take on that?
Well, my thing is, you know, part of the success, for lack of a better term, and I'll make it sense. I'll make it make sense. And
Mm-hmm.
part of the success, part of the success for the failure of this country has a lot to do with has a lot to do with people not caring. Um,
Or are they burnt out from caring and feel like nothing has ever been done?
well, I look at it this way:
Mm-hmm.
as long as I'm living, there are always going to be opportunities for me to better my life. There are things that I can do as an individual, and then there are things that I can do collectively with other people.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless, I should be doing something. And when you look at, if you go back as far as even the Constitution and when it was written,
Mm-hmm.
when it was written, it wasn't written for blacks, it wasn't written for Hispanics, it wasn't written for women, it was written for uh, Caucasian males over the age of 21 that own property.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, when you're talking about the heart and the soul of a country, how will that country live as a country? Because when President Obama was elected, I thought that the number of black men, of black people being harassed and killed and everything else by the police, I thought that would decrease. Of course, my greatest hope would be just to go away completely.
Mm-hmm.
Um, School massacres. Um, Now you look at, quote unquote, when they say Hollywood. So let's just say Hollywood for the sake of the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Hollywood being in the under the spotlight like it is now, and not for the right thing. Um, Inflation, cost of living, cost of groceries. I looked it up, and last year, this country, our GDP, our gross domestic product, was 23.96 trillion.
Mm-hmm.
23 1.96 trillion. And then I divided it by the population of the United States, which I think is now roughly like 360 million or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it came out to like $78,450 per person. So based on the all of the money that was generated for the United States and every person living in the United States,
Mm-hmm.
to include babies, if that money was evenly divided, it'd be like $78,450.
Wow.
And then I said, okay, a lot of people don't even need that much money to live off of.
Right.
But why do people need so much more than that to live off of? And why is it as a society, if we call ourselves a quote unquote God fearing country and got God on our money and in God we trust, then why is it that we can produce all of this income, but yet we got homeless people by the droves? Everything is just so insufficient. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm seeing a great divide between the haves and the have-nots. And some of the people who are decided not to vote, and people, oh well, I'm black and I'm in America, but I'm not from here. I'm part of this race, or I'm a spiritual being, or I belong to this special group, and we don't have to vote, but you live here. You consume and take advantage of everything that's made from a decision of a vote, but
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to vote. And my thing is this: if the love of your life and the love of your family, your children, your parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, cousins, if any of that matters to you, then you would spend your whole life, if necessary, voting, hopefully until you get the result that you want. And then if you continually voting doesn't ever seem to be enough, or none of the voting leans in your direction, then what more can you do? Can you get more people involved in voting? If your person only lost by 100,000, that's nothing in the population of 360 million. That,
Correct.
that's just 100,000 people sitting at the house and said, "I ain't voting. I don't care who wins."
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So
Yes. Yes.
um, I think, and unfortunately, there's a large part of our lives that we spend just surviving,
Yes.
just surviving, just surviving. A lot of households, if one income is gone, that that
That's it.
that's it.
We
One
we say it all the time. You're like one
income, one
paycheck
income.
away from poverty.
Yeah,
And that's why I think it's so important. And I definitely want to reiterate that, even aside from voting, because I know that's our topic, but excuse me, that's why you have to be careful who you shun. You have to be careful who you look down upon, because, and not to say that there are not some people who are there because of their own, ill-gotten whatevers, we know that. But for those that, have fought for our country, they suffer with PTSD and don't have anything to look forward to when they come back into the country. Our veterans, like, I'll just use that as a general, rule of thumb. But when we talk about, being homeless, there's so many people who are living literally paycheck to paycheck. And if we're being real honest, that's more of the majority than anything.
yeah.
And
I call that sheltered homeless.
okay, I mean, basically.
Yeah,
And so,
yeah.
to put your, toot your nose up at anybody that you feel like, oh, they on the streets and this and that, when that could be us, for some of us. So, that's why you have to count all of your blessings. And then again, you do have to be strategic about, if you are going to vote, be strategic about doing the homework. I'll tell people all the time, stop just depending on media, because some media is propaganda only. And so a lot of times they're only going to give it to you from a perspective of what they want you to think or what they want you to believe. But we have had the opportunity that, with the internet and with, the ability to be able to look up things on our own public records, different things like that. It's important to do the research on, who these candidates are. I don't think it's anything wrong with voting at all. I just feel like you have to make sure you're making an informed decision, and that it is going to benefit, your home, your lifestyle, what is best for, our future. And a lot of people don't think that far ahead sometimes, and that's the unfortunate part. But I do think that that part is what really matters. And instead of going on what you see like agenda wise, what some parts of the media will say this is true and others will say this, but the truth is right there in front of you, like you can read on it. Like, so kind of burns me up sometimes when some politicians take credit for, progress that was made, and it wasn't made on their watch. The progress was made on somebody else's watch, but they'll take full credit for it. But we have the ability to look that information up and be able to say yay or nay whether this, this is literally, I see the information. So it's not anything that I'll be bamboozled about. I'm seeing what the truth is. We have the ability to find those things out. I think that, it does require a little bit more in-depth, research, and it won't be just a simple, I like these commercials and this person looks fun and this and that, and again, all of the propaganda surrounding it. I think it's very important to nothing but the facts, ma'am. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need nothing but the facts.
Absolutely. And also to that same tone, um, a lot of people didn't know that there were that they found out today, but a lot of
Mhm.
people didn't know that there were other candidates for president
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
on the ballot. And
yes.
we found out maybe about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and we looked up a few people. I think Jill Stein was one of the people that stuck out
Mm-hmm.
because of not only what she has done, like
Mm-hmm.
the receipts are there, uh,
Mm-hmm.
but her forward agenda, which really is the footprint for what she has already done.
Yes.
Um, again, in politics, we always get mainly two people postured, one from
Yeah.
the party,
Yeah.
Republican or Democrat, and that's kind of what we go with. That's kind of where everybody
Yes.
puts their money at. So uh,
Yes.
those two candidates have the funds available because they're they're being postured first of all by these parties, which are the largest parties of all
Of
the.
course.
And
Of
so
course.
they got
Those are
all,
your lobbyists. Those
yeah,
are the ones that they're putting that money. And that's what I tell people. I tell people all the time, you don't get anything for free. Not in this country. You know what I'm saying? Not
right,
in this country. And so there is, when they're shelling out those dollars, you have to look at who those lobbyists are and what they represent. And if they're backing a certain candidate, what does that mean for you?
right. Right. Again, I feel like every person who, by the selected date, puts their name in the hat for a candidacy, then
Hmm.
why don't we posture evenly all of those people, give them all even platform, give them all even marketing, give them all even exposure, then let the country make a decision. But again, we get sheep, sheep,
Yeah.
sheep. Y'all go this way, and everybody comes in this way. Now these are your two choices, but it really was eight.
It was, and I was, and there was actually another gentleman who had a pretty solid platform too. And I know I'm gonna jack up his name, but I think it's Corbin West or Corwin West. But he was on the ballot too, and I was shocked. Actually, he is an actor, right?
No,
He
no, no. He's a professor,
professor. That's right.
Dr. Cornell West.
Cornell West, yeah, and he had some very good, things that he represents, and looks for. But again, I didn't know that either, till I got to the poll.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so I don't know. I feel like something different other than just Republican Democrat. You know, uh, Harrison Waltz and Trump and Vance. I think it's something bigger going on, but again,
Mhm.
I'm just a guy, you know. Everybody has their ideas and their thoughts, but uh,
Yeah.
again, I'm amazed that this country calls itself a godly country by whatever faith that you practice. This is supposed to be a godly country, but at the same time, you know, so many ungodly things have been done. So many ungodly things are being done. I can remember elections from when I was a kid growing up to now,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
the words that are being used to describe other candidates.
Right.
It- I remember a time when that kind of language was not even allowed in television.
Right.
But
Right.
person running for the office of the president and the office of vice president, and some of the language and some of the words and some of the disrespect that's being used is just amazing. And then also too, I get tired of the the hamster's wheel. You don't hear nothing about none of these candidates until it's time for elections. Then all of supposedly go to show you how stuff just brushes over people's head.
Mhm.
So now it's election time. Now here come the smear campaign.
Yeah.
This person was caught stealing money. This person was caught sleeping with this person. This
Mhm.
person was caught accepting bribe money. They bring up all these lists of things that this
Mhm.
other person has done. And I'm sitting there saying to myself, well, dang, if you did all of that stuff, why aren't you locked up? What are you doing running for office?
You know what? I love the fact that you even brought that up because hold on, I'm gonna go back for a minute because the first thing you said was, we have a godly country, and again, you said, we do have to respect who believes whatever they believe, whatever the case may be. But look, it's one God, boo. Okay, and so we have to wonder. I have to ask myself, well, what gods are running the country? So that's a whole nother A Fox show because I'll get it in. I will get it in.
But to attune to what you just said,
Mhm.
there are people that have a certain amount of money, and
Mhm.
in their mind, they are God. They
They
are above reproach.
yes,
They are above the law.
yes,
And there are some things that they have done that you will never see or hear about. And if you
yes.
do, you probably won't get too much time to tell what you've seen or heard.
Exactly. And then the other thing that I love that you said, because I've often asked this, I asked if what I would like to see is that we have a where you could sue somebody for defamation of character, right?
Right,
That
right.
that is something we're able to do when someone is speaking ill of us. So for me, I feel like that should be actually in the whole political process is that if like why should we have to fact check something that you lied about, and then if we prove that it was a lie, we continue saying that's okay? That's not okay, because again, you're deferring someone's character, and I'm talking about for any political candidate. I'm not speaking on one specific one at this time. So my thing is they should be in trouble. You shouldn't even be able to run if your integrity has to be questioned. That's number one, because that's the whole point. Oh, this country is supposed to be based on honesty, integrity, this and that. Okay, okay, but you know
Okay,
what I'm saying? Like
right.
that should already be addressed, and we don't, again, like you said, we don't say anything. And then like I want to go back to what you said about in the past, right? So I remember a time which was a beautiful time growing up when I didn't have bills and I could do a lot on my own, you know what I'm saying? But I remember when people respected your decision. Like it wasn't this evil, divisive kind of rhetoric that goes on just because you have a difference of opinion. Supposedly, that's what this country was founded on, our differences, the fact that we can get along. But let me tell you what I was listening to a pastor that I actually follow, but he has since passed away.
Mhm.
And one of his sermons about 9 years ago, He said that we didn't realize when television, came to full fruition and we were, into the entertainment, we also didn't realize that that was a form of conditioning your mind to be able to accept things, right? So he said that there was a scientist that did this study on absurdity. And I know this is going to sound funny, but he said that when you receive things, absurd things in doses, it can condition your mind to eventually accept that. And I want people who are listening to really meditate on what I just said, that we were conditioning. So if you saw something absurd in television, but eventually that became the new normal, then what the scientists proved was that when you get absurdity in doses, eventually you can condition somebody to accept it. Think about where we're at today. There were things many years ago we wouldn't even accept today. But now today we're full fledged, accepting it. But if you think about it, these things were put into play a long time ago, and now we just accept whatever. And I'm gonna say this too, and again, this is not to advocate for any specific candidate, but one thing that I do realize is everybody loved the renegade. Everybody loves the renegade. The one that can talk stuff, and they can make you feel like I can cuss and I can do this and I can do that, and I'm Big Willie on campus. It kind of is a scary thought, because it's like we're now in a position where we advocate, stuff that's not right. Like, and what I also realize is people are gonna make things right even when it's not. It's We have become that, where wrong is made right, right is wrong, and we're in that society where now anything goes, anything flows, and we're gonna find a way to make it fit even if it's not correct. And again, that goes back to your heart. You got to check your heart sometimes and what your individual motive is, because that's what it all boils down to in a nutshell. So there are just so many things that have changed. And like I said, the biggest is the respect factor. You could talk to your neighbor and didn't have to worry about y'all beefing just because y'all have a difference of opinion and chose to, go with someone else. I've been hearing families are being torn apart by decisions that they're making with this voting. So a lot of things have truly changed over the years, and it really is sad. It's very disappointing.
Yeah, it is. And like I'm the youngest of nine out of Brooklyn, New York. When
Oh,
I
Brooklyn!
coming out, when I was growing up, I got to see, because New York at one time had a very big label as the melting pot of the world.
Yeah, yep,
White, Italian, Hispanic, Jewish, Japanese, Italian, everybody,
yes.
and everybody lived there. But I look
Mm-hmm.
at that, and then we moved down south when I'm like 6 or 7 years old, and
Mm-hmm.
then to just see, you know, uh, people really sectioned off. The language was different. I mean, the accents and the dialects were different,
Yes,
and
yes,
and the behavior of the people was different. Down here, up north, I've listened to kids talk to their parents, and you know, and
mm-hmm.
again, for me, nothing wrong with yes or no. If a
Right,
parent, if a
right,
the question, yes or no, but in the South,
yes,
they almost like made it mandatory for the ma'am and the sir. You understand?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
And I still do it to this day, and people do, tell me sometimes they do get offended by it, but it definitely, it wasn't intended to be offensive. It was just a form of respect,
yeah,
was what we were told growing up.
absolutely, absolutely. So you fast forward to 2024
Hmm.
again, things that were not acceptable um, has been, like you said, Television is what? When TV came out, you had you had the newspaper, you
Yeah.
had TV Guide,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
TV Guide was like the Bible, so to speak, for
Yes.
what was coming on TV.
Yes.
And they had it in blocks, right?
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
When I went to school, we went from having classes to blocks. Block 1, block 2, block 3.
Yeah.
Television, programming,
Yes.
programming, television
Exactly.
programming.
Yep. And it tells you that.
Right.
Yeah.
And because the media
Mm-hmm.
is part of being the molder of public opinion, because a lot of people say, well, is it true or not? And they say, well, I heard it on the news. That's what it
Exactly.
was. Listen,
Exactly.
if two people or entities said something, it was the truth. If pastor
Yes.
if pastor said it, it was the truth.
Yes. Yes.
The news said it,
Yes.
it was the truth.
Yes.
But again, that goes back to that sheepish mentality.
Yes.
No research, no validation, no.
Right.
This is what I was told, and this is what I believe, and
Yeah.
there's nothing that you can say, do, or show me that would change my mind.
Yeah. And it's funny because like I was having a conversation with, I consider myself old school, but we got older school too. And we were actually having this conversation and we were talking about politics. And they were literally mad at me because over the years they are set in their ways. Like if they believe Democrat, that's what they believe, that's what they're standing by. They don't care if it's right, wrong, or indifferent. So if I come and say, well, I was looking at some of the Republican, things that they do, and I feel like that lines up more with what I got going on, blah 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 blah. I mean, it would be a battle. And so then, at one point it was like, I mean, I can't believe you would believe that. But then it was like, well, I did the research. So then I'll ask them and they'll say, well, where did you get it from? My own studies. That's why we have the internet. That's why we're able to pull books. That's why we have Wikipedia, some of these trusted sources. And you know what they told me? And I said, where are your sources from? The news.
Right.
And I was like, oh, okay, so you believe that none of the news could be propaganda, because we do have where people have coined certain, you know, news channels or whatever as irresponsible media.
Right.
That's why the internet kind of was a blessing and a curse for that, because people had really gotten so tired of the rhetoric and the stuff that's not really true, that's why these platforms that we're on now, we have an opportunity to speak raw truth. A lot of times they don't even like to recognize it. And if you notice that, you'll get the most likes and this and that when they feel like it's just fun, foolishness that doesn't matter. But anybody that's talking raw truth may not necessarily get the same kind of visibility. You know what I mean? And I know that that's done on purpose, and it has nothing to do with people actually liking it, but it actually has to do with the reach. The reach is controlled by the people that own these platforms. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely.
Because they can allow a million people to view something that you say, and if it's real and relatable, people can flock to that. But they're going to make sure, besides getting the money piece, if they feel like it's something you're saying, they're going to police it, and they're going to give you 30 people that were able to reach that particular, whatever you stated that they felt like was against the grain. That's how this thing works, and you have to understand that.
Absolutely. That's why I have an account on Fanbase, because um, uh, that's ran by Isaac Hayes' son, Isaac Hayes the third. They don't
Okay.
they don't have any advertising on his social media platform.
Oh.
Advertising impacts shadow banning. If I got a business and I put up my link to my business, it's not
Mm-hmm.
get to certain people. Certain people will never
Yes.
see that link because of the doors that the
Yep.
platform itself allows to open and close to direct the path of whatever you're trying to expose.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
then another person could do the exact same thing I did, exact same company, exact same product, exact same price, but because it's them, now all the portals are open,
Yes.
and an audience is brought to make that flourish and be
Yes.
successful. So um, it's, to me, it's no different than anything else. The music industry, acting,
Correct.
anything
Correct.
else. Music industry, same thing. You had a lot of people that signed to a record label, and the record label favored somebody else over you. You're signed to
Mhm.
the label, but guess what? Boom! Now you're on the show.
Correct.
You know,
Correct.
so
Yes. Yes. And we've seen it happen over and over and over again. And again, it's sad that people think that you're only valid if you're on those types of settings. And I know that we are getting ready to run out of time, but one of the things I also want people to be aware of is local government is just as important as, our presidents, because local is the laws and everything that happen within your city. And so, we talk about recalls on food and different things like that. Who is your agricultural commissioner? What are they doing? Like, we need to start pulling this information, seeing what their track record is, seeing if that's why every time we turn around, we eating an apple and we been and fell out, peanuts ain't good, because we're not getting the right kind of, we're not going out there cleaning these facilities and making sure that they're up to code and different things like that. Your insurance commissioner, those are important. And then, of course, your House of Representatives and your senators. It is important to, even if you can't get the president you want or whatever, then work hard to make sure the house is stacked in your favor for whatever who you want to uh be a part of, the House of Representatives or the Senate, because those people are going to be responsible for the national laws and different things like that, and you'll have the ability to stack it as much as possible. Don't omit them because of the big picture of the presidency. That's definitely something and that was Yellow Pain, the artist that I spoke with. He has gotten, like I said, millions of views on his music and just his messages. Like I told you, to the point where you were telling me, he was saying on the interview, Hillary Clinton, Chelsea Clinton, recognized him
yeah,
for some of the things that he has said. So, I say that to say he does do a big focus on local government. He feels like, it gets missed sometimes in the midst of all of, what's going on. And I want to say to people out there before we go to, there are some people so stressed out. They are like this is a real issue for some people, and they don't even want to watch the TV because they're scared of what's going to happen, or who it is. Listen, I'm going to tell you, just like I tell anybody else, look, I'm a believer, I pray. So regardless of anything, I already know I'm going to be all right no matter what. And for those people that believe, honestly feel the same way, it's going to be all right. Whatever happens, we just have to roll with it.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I
Yeah.
agree. I agree.
Well, I truly appreciate you being on with me today, Brent. We had a little bit of a technical difficulty. I wasn't in the studio today because I was trying to get home. I was like, I got to get out of that traffic today. But I just thank you so much. And like I said, you and Ebony Joy, thank you so much for all that you do on Amethyst on Fire TV on Roku. And anybody that definitely is looking for a home, you'll be in good hands. So I'm so excited to just continue these journeys as I continue to grow. I'm just excited to still have my family here. And just check us out. You want to give them the information, Brent? Because look, I get some of those letters on our amethystonfiretv.com. So I'm gonna let you tell them what that is.
All right, so we're gonna do this. We're gonna hit the ticker at the bottom right there.
Got
So
it.
in order to view the channel, you can go to www.aoftvroku.com. That's Amethyst on Fire TV Roku.com. When you see our byline on the channel, we clearly express on the first page of our channel that we are here for the independents.
Yes.
Film, music, content. If it can be seen or heard, it can be monetized. We have the ability to do live and pay per view. We have promotions being backed by English Promotions LLC with Lisa
Yes.
MacArthur. Um, I don't have the ticker up yet, but I do have a publicist by the name of Sharon Rooks with Power Media Solutions. Jumpstart your business on Memphis. I forget the name of that one, but several
Okay.
sites. And she's a publicist, and we're working on a few things. And right now, we're also in the process of looking at something for December. I'm waiting on some conversations here in Holly Springs, but we do have some artists lined up. And one of the artists is, uh, well, all of them are huge. All of them are huge.
Yes.
All of them are huge. Not one. I'm looking at the artists now. All of them are huge. Uh,
Yes.
so if that comes to fruition, then you'll have some more great people to interview. Um,
Which I absolutely love. And I have some great individuals from like my next three interviews are going to be very, very important and they are going to be awesome. And I want to promise my audience, because we were talking the other day, I have like a focus group. And so they're always giving me information about what they would like to see. And I am going to be getting to people, do not worry. We're going to have our panel discussions. You know, Brent, you and I talked about this because there's so many different topics that people do want to discuss. So don't think I'm only going to be interviewing. I'm not. We're definitely going to be getting that panel in and getting these opinions. Look, we might need them for the next 4 years.
we might.
But thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Angela Foxworth Show. Thank you again, Brent, for being a part of the show. You guys know you can reach me. What, did you need me again? You got to
Yeah,
say something? Go
just
ahead.
one more thing, last thing. Um,
Okay.
Thank you as well, and it's awesome having you as part of the team. You're also a part of Amethyst on Fire Entertainment LLC. Uh,
Yes.
you are the executive communications for Amethyst on Fire Entertainment LLC, uh,
Yes.
and the world-renowned Russ College a cappella choir.
Yes. Yes.
We have been invited to Italy for uh, a singing competition in its 36th year in Verona, Italy, and we are raising money to help them get there. So stay tuned and keep your ears close to what we got going on because we should be bringing you some announcements soon on the next event. We do
Love
want
it.
Doug Williams from the Williams Brothers. We want to thank the Jackson Southerners. We want to thank
Yes.
Josh Allen, um, I'm sorry, Josh Miles, J.D. Allen,
Yeah.
Kevin Davidson, I'm sorry, and For the Culture, the Russ College Acapella Choir, Danny Boy Entertainment, Dr. Carl Twiner. We're trying to get these kids to Italy. And so we're going to be
Yes.
back with,
Yes.
we ain't going to just ask you for money, even though we do have a GoFundMe link set up. We do
Okay.
have a GoFundMe link set up for the choir.
Awesome.
Okay? That's for the choir, but
Okay.
we're going to be bringing you some first class entertainment and you're going to be able to watch it live and or pay-per-view and after the fact live pre-recorded on one of our digital platforms which would be our Roku channel or our other theater channel that we have.
Yes.
So I just want
I
to say
love that.
thank you, thank you, thank you. You're so awesome. Um, I like being able to talk with you because you are a great interviewer and you have great thoughts. And it's very clear and crystal
Thank
clear.
you.
No, I've only
Thank you.
seen what other people have said, like Fanatic. Fanatic was like, man, I love the way she interviews. She's awesome. So yeah.
Thank
Um,
you so much. I just appreciate having the opportunity. You know, I told you once before, if I never made a dime off of interviewing, this is that for me. You know, this is what I would be doing. But I'm glad we are making dimes. You know what I mean? Listen, I'm not going to shun that, okay?
That's
But
right.
yeah, I'm so grateful and thankful. And like I said, we continue to go deep. And you guys remember that you can reach out to me, www.theafoxshow.com. And I forgot to tell everybody, when you guys have show ideas and you want to reach out to me, if you don't want to reach out on social, you can always send me an email at info@theafoxshow.com. I will respond to you. And if you want to be a part of the show, please give me a call. And remember, life with a fox is truly living outside the box, and I am always interviewing with a purpose. You guys have an absolutely wonderful week. Stay tuned. We'll find out probably in the next month who our new president is. You guys have a good one. Brent, thank you so much. Thank you, Ebony Jordan. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye bye.
Bye bye.